I've been flipping cars for almost 7 years now, and one of the most frequent questions I get asked is how I escaped my 9 to 5 day job and started flipping cars full time. So in this video, I'm going to give you an exact step-by-step path to follow so you know exactly how much money you need to get started, how to quickly scale up capital flipping cars legally, and how to build a repeatable 10K per month business. I'm going to cover a lot of things in a very short amount of time in this video, so be prepared to take notes and let's get right into it. What's up? My name is Jamal from Flipping University. I help busy employees build a full-time business flipping cars without having to fix anything so that they can build a life of freedom doing whatever they want. So the first thing we got to talk about is just getting started and exactly how much money you should be putting aside to get started flipping cars. But you really want to start as cheap as possible so that you can reduce risk, where you're not putting in all your money into one car that could potentially end up losing you money if you're just getting into everything. And as a rough estimate, I would usually tell people to start with around $1,000 just getting into everything. Yes, you can actually get a car for even under $1,000, and I've proven that with the flipping series that I've done. Worst case scenario, if you buy a car that's $700 and things come up with it that you weren't expecting, you could just junk it and probably get your money back. The next thing is getting an OBD scanner. That's really the one tool that you basically need outside of everything else. Even the other things like having a tool chest and all that stuff, you can really wait for. But unless you want to end up buying a car and end up finding out a bunch of problems that's wrong with the car after you purchase it, you're going to want to get this right away. And one of the scanners that I recommend getting and that I mainly use myself is called the Blue Driver scanner. You can pick it up off of Amazon for like $100. And we're going to get into exactly how you can use the scanner the right way in a second. Next thing you're going to be doing is just taking time to study the market. So just going on things like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist if you want to, though nobody really uses Craigslist anymore. And all you're going to be doing is just checking to see what the prices of cars are like around you. I say around you because realistically your market might be completely different from my market. But if you don't know at least the baseline of around what cars will go for, it's going to be hard to see if a good deal will come up or not in the future. Now for the next section is just looking for the cars to flip. So before anything else and before you're even looking for the potential car, the first thing would just be setting a goal profit margin. And really at this price, if you're spending under $1,000 for a car to flip, I'd say a good goal is just trying to double your money. So if you're gonna be buying a car for $1,000, if you can potentially get another $1,000 in profit, that's great in itself. Of course, you could shoot for more than that as well, especially if you're doing a bigger job with the car, but that's a good minimum I usually try to stick to. Now, for the avenues that you're going to be using to really source the vehicles and to buy the cars, there's a lot of different places. Of course, there's either even private sale that you can go through, or you can go through auctions as well. And there's different options that you can have for either. I'm going to mainly talk about private sale in this video just because I would really recommend most people start there. Auctions, it's a lot more advanced. Yes, you can get some great deals there as well, but for a beginner I really wouldn't suggest starting there. But let's say if you are a beginner and you're going to be going through private sale, the main avenues I would mainly use would either be Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp. And by the way, if you are one of those advanced people that's like, hey listen, yes, I need to get some auction related content, I got you. Just put it in the comments below so I know if that's what people actually want to see. And at some point in the future, I'll make a video about it. But now it doesn't end there. The other thing is, all right, like what should you even be searching for when you go to Facebook Marketplace or when you go to OfferUp, and what should you be looking for? So we're on Facebook Marketplace now. And I would say one of the main things that you need to make sure that you're doing if you're going through private sale is just going to the sort by section and making sure that it sorts where it's the newest date coming up first. So let's say clicking here, and then every listing that you see right here, this is going to be the stuff that was literally just posted a couple of minutes ago potentially. And one of the main reasons you want to set it like this is because realistically most of the really good deals that come up are going to be the ones that you have to act on right away, and if you don't, it's probably going to be gone within like 30 minutes to an hour. So you want to make sure that you're seeing those listings right when they pop up. And now you're probably thinking, what's the next step? Do I just go around to every listing and just start lowballing everyone? Yes, that's exactly what you do. You want to literally just go into every single listing and just say, I'll give you $200 cash right now. No, I'm just playing. Definitely do not do that. That's the way that you get blocked. No one's going to respond to you. The better way to do things is to look for the listings that look like they need some type of work. And this is where it's really going to cater to what your skill set is going to be. So it doesn't have to be where you're going for cars that needs a lot of mechanical work or something like that. It could even be things like maybe it needs a paint job, or maybe it just needs a really good detailing job, or maybe it needs dent repair, anything like that. And this is actually a good example of a post right here. This is on Facebook Marketplace. This is a 2010 Toyota Corolla. Looks like it's actually posted for not a horrible price a couple minutes ago. And it looks like this person just didn't really know what they're doing with the listing. They already have the VSC off light right there. And even if that light wasn't there, I could see the car just isn't in the best shape. The seats look a little crusty. And they have these old, crusty looking aftermarket rims that most people won't like when they want to buy the car later on as well. So this is the type of car that I would potentially go for. And some of the other key things that you also want to look out for is, one, just seeing if the car is already posted for a pretty decent deal. And this is where it's going to kind of come back to what I said previously, where you want to make sure that you know what a good deal is like in your area or not. And if possible, you want to see if that car is going to be negotiable or not. Because if the person is just firm on their price and they already posted it for one price, then you're not really going to be able to go anywhere from that. And now it goes on to the next step, which is really going into the buying the car process. So let's say if you found a good car, you want to contact the person and try to make sure that you're getting the VIN number. And we're mainly going to be checking two different sites that are completely free. The first one is called NICB, and that's what we're going to be using to check the status of the title. And as a quick thing, if you're doing this and you're just getting started flipping cars, I would mainly just go for clean title cars. And that's exactly what this site is going to show you. All you have to do is just type in the VIN number for the car into the site, and it's just going to give you a check if the title is clean. If the title is salvaged or rebuilt or stolen or anything like that, it's going to give an X instead. The next one is Carfax Value. And that's a site that you're going to be using to check to see the odometer. So this is good to check just because a lot of people like to do the scans where they'll roll the mileage back or whatever the case may be. So I would usually check this before I go anywhere as well. You can go to the bottom of the site, do it completely for free, and you can see what the estimated mileage is based on the history of that car. Now for when you get there, when you're going to check out the car, this is probably one of the most important parts of the whole process. You want to make sure that you're not buying a lemon of a car, because the last thing you want to do is get the car home and then end up finding out something that you didn't know when you were going to purchase the car. So this is where you're going to be using that OBD scanner that I brought up. The main two checks that you're going to be doing with any car is checking to see the engine codes, and then you're also going to be checking the IM readiness status with the car as well. And the IM readiness status is just a check that you can do to just see if the person that's selling the car either reset the codes in the past, or maybe they didn't reset it, maybe the battery just died but the codes are still pending potentially in the system. Regardless of the case, you should be doing both checks. I'm not going to go deep into this section because I already made a full video explaining that whole process. If you want to see that, you can click into the video on the top. But just make sure that you're really taking your time to go through this inspection. And what you want to do to see how much you should be buying the car for, regardless if it's through private sale or really even through an auction, is checking to see how much the car can sell for first. So let's say looking at things like Cali Blue Book and checking to see what the average value is of the car in good condition. And then what you're going to be doing is subtracting what the profit margin is and the expenses that you'd have to put in to make the car into good condition. And then whatever that ending number is will be the amount that you should be buying the car for. And then all you're going to be doing to negotiate is just listing out every single problem that that car has, and make sure that you're a drama king with it or a drama queen. Really go hard emphasizing every point. You can say, looks like the seats need to be repaired, that's going to be $1,000. It looks like the carpet needs to be washed, that's going to be an extra $500. Looks like the engine needs to be clean, that'll be an extra $500. Don't go too crazy, obviously, but yes, put a little drama to it and put out the prices as if you were going to be getting it done at a shop, by the way, not as if you were going to do it yourself. And then at the end of all of that, put out your offer. Yes, it could potentially be somewhat of a lowball offer, but if you're at least giving them reasons to why you're even coming up with that offer, and then you have that cash available in hand as well, it's a much better chance they're going to be able to take that offer as well. And now it comes time to selling the car. And by the way, in a second, we're going to go through the whole process of, all right, how to go through all this and then getting into making this a full-time business as well. Don't worry, we're going to get there. Let's take it one step at a time. The first thing that you're going to be doing when you're getting the car home, outside of course, registering the car and stuff, if you have to do that, would be making the car safe to drive first and foremost. So if there's anything that's wrong with the car, like let's say the brakes are really bad where it feels like the person's gonna fly off the road if they're trying to press the brakes, or whatever else the car needs like that, you're gonna be taking care of that first and foremost. And then after that, you're just gonna be looking to make the car in good condition. Now, after doing all that process, hopefully that didn't take too long and you didn't find out something that you weren't expecting when you were checking out the car. Then you're gonna go on to the next part, which is just taking pictures of the car and making sure you're taking good, well-lit pictures. Usually I would suggest either going out to take pictures when the sun is setting or when the sun is rising or on a cloudy day. You usually don't want to take pictures when the sun is just straight up blaring on the car. It's not gonna look as good. And when you're posting up the car, just be honest in the description. If there is something that's wrong with the car that still was not addressed, you're better off doing that in the description rather than waiting until the person gets there and then you're there trying to BS them about, oh, you didn't know the problem was there and all that stuff, and then they're not even going to want to buy from you. So just be honest first and foremost. And for what you're going to be posting the car out for, price wise, is basically the same thing that you referred to when you were trying to purchase the car as well. So for a general practice for people just getting started, I would usually say to go to Kelley Blue Book, type in exactly what the make, model, and year was of that car, and just posting it up around what the Kelley Blue Book value is of the car. And usually just posting it up a little bit higher than what you really want to sell it for, because most people are going to want to try to negotiate when you're going to sell the car as well. And then you can just weed through all the nice people that's throwing you $200, $300 offers for the car if they come with cash now. But eventually you'll find the person that's going to be willing to buy the car, and then boom, you got your first flip. Now what you're going to be doing after that with the profit that you made from that car is taking that money and then just reinvesting it back into the business. And you can either go one of two ways. If you're starting with that low money, and let's say you now have $2,000 to spend or $3,000 to spend all in for the car, you can either go for one car using all the money that you now have and just trying to get bigger profit off of it, or you can break it up and let's say get two cars, still trying to do the same thing where you're just doubling your money off of each car. And generally speaking, you're going to be able to make a little bit more profit doing it this way, but at the same time you're also working a little bit more because you're trying to sell to two different people and all that stuff as well. And then the cycle continues. You're just going to rinse and repeat with each car, doing the same thing over and over, and eventually you'll get to the point where you're going to probably hit the cap of whatever your state can allow for how many cars you can actually flip in a year. Let's say for New York, where I'm at, you can't sell more than 6 cars in a year, at least under my own name. Now, hopefully by this point, you at least have around $5,000 to $10,000 built up. And what you can do for one option is either instead of registering the cars in your name, you can register the car in someone else's name, like your own family member or friend, if they're okay with it, and then just doing the same thing and getting to their max flip amount that they could do in a year. Or if you don't want to go that route, the faster route would also just be getting your dealer's license so that there is no limit of how many cars you can flip in a year. And for that, I did already make a video covering how you can get a dealer's license and the 3 ways that you can do that. So if you want to see that video and how I went about getting that myself, you can click into the video there. And before I cover what the easiest route would be to be able to do $10,000 per month flipping cars, I did just want to mention that I did also put together a checklist highlighting the main steps that I would take to be able to make $2,000 profit plus off of a car without having to fix anything with it. So even if you don't have any type of mechanical experience and all you know how to do is just change oil in the car, that's completely fine. If you want access to that, just go to the link in the description below. So there's a couple of things to this, and honestly there's a lot of ways that you could get to being $10,000 per month, but from what I've seen, the best price range to even stay under when you're looking to flip cars and do things strictly with cash and not have to be worrying about getting loans with people or anything like that is going for cars that are around $5,000 to $3,000. These are cars that you can flip pretty quickly and still get really good profit off of it. Let's say potentially getting $3,000 or more potentially of profit. And these are still cars that you can flip relatively quickly, because yes, that's great if you can get really high profit and be able to get $7,000 profit plus off of a car, but if it ends up being where you have to be waiting a month or more to sell that car because you're trying to sell it for $15,000 plus, it's not really going to be the best thing either. So what you could do is try to buy potentially 2 cars that's, let's say, around $3,000 to $5,000 at the same time. Flip them, try to make around $2,000 to $3,000 profit each off of them. So let's say on average around $2,500 profit per car. And at that price point, you should be able to sell it relatively quickly, potentially even under a week. And then all you have to do is sell 4 of those cars per month. Do 4 of those flips, and that'll bring you to $10,000 pretty easily. But that's everything. Make sure you get your checklist showing you how to get a high profit car and flip it really quickly. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.